today Goldman Sachs says, agency like Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest bankers, it says India can make it just only 1.6%. The GDP can grow with that speed. Last week, the projection said it was 2.3. I mean, 2.3 also, it's like impossible to manage, you know. We need something like double-digit growth. Forget that. That is now, it's a dream. But with this kind of lockdown, more than the virus, we have killed our economy.
Do you think it would be essential for India to have a reconstruction budget post COVID-19?
See, in the first place, I firmly believe our reaction didn't match the spread. We overreacted. It's much more easy. It's much more. It makes sense to have a complete lockdown in cities or countries like Italy or Brazil. I mean, France or any other European nations in New York City. But in India, it's extremely impossible for a number of reasons. First, it is 83% of our economy is unorganized sector. So cities are unorganized. People living in shanties where toilet is common. You can't expect people to stay indoors, you know. So like typical chawls, they are called in Indian context, you know, or the slums, for example. So that kind of carpet bombing, whether was that needed, I mean, I think it wasn't. It should have been instead a clean, focused attack. But we went on having this huge 3 weeks complete clamp down, which has not only shattered, which has broken our economy. And today, Goldman Sachs says, agency like Goldman Sachs, one of the biggest bankers, it says India can make it just only 1.6%. The GDP can grow with that speed. Last week, the projection said it was 2.3. I mean, 2.3 also, it's like impossible to manage, you know. We need something like double-digit growth. Forget that. That is now, it's a dream. But with this kind of lockdown, more than the virus, we have killed our economy. That's what my feeling is. So the real challenge post-lockdown or when things become normal will not be on the health front. It will be on the economic issues. You have people moving from cities to their rural villages. You have crumbling health sector, telecom, power sector. So how to pump in energy and life into this sector? This is going to be a real big challenge, you know. So I don't know. I don't think government has any magic wand in its possession. And the way, particularly this current government loves giving shock. So this shock also. But it was too big a thing to leave after that, you know, in this kind of economic situation. So economy will be a big issue. And as far as this, in other countries like European nations, they use this lockdown basically to ramp up their medical facilities or to organize in a better way. We can't do that because we don't have anything like what social health care or social medicine in India, because India doesn't spend not even 1% of the GDP on healthcare. So you can imagine in rupee term. So with that kind of money, you can't manage on the health front, you know. So what it should have been managing is on the economic front. But trying to do both, we have ruined both. That's the reality.
That's a really great point. When talking about this exposure to India, but let's say developed countries like the United States, for example, they could assign $2 trillion to this pandemic. They can try to control it. But two questions arise out of this. One basic question is lockdown a solution, or is it just part of the solution where you are trying to mitigate the effect? And second question is, despite having a structured nature of problem solving or tackling any situation, why is this turning out to be, let's say, New York City's worst nightmare?
The first thing about is this a solution? Right from WHO to local health official in India, everybody is talking about this is not the solution. This is one of the solution. or will be the second best solution. The first has to be about the test. We can't carry those many tests because we don't have infrastructure in India. We don't have that much money to buy those kits and deploy people on the field. And considering this gigantic size of the nation, where with 130 crore people residing, it's impossible to manage that. So ideally, we should have had a mix of a good health system, which we have failed to do, because even this government, right, from on two fronts, it's been talking about improving budgetary allocation since 2013-14. One is the education, and second is the health. Education, we don't spend even 2% of the GDP, and on health, it's not even 1%. US could allocate just 2 billion you're talking about, but it comes to something like 10% of the GDP. Mm-hmm. Ours is not even 1%. Even the allocation, the emergency allocation is also just 1%, which is like 1,70,000 crore. It's peanuts as compared to US. US is something like 150 lakh crore if you convert it into rupees. So there is no match on that. So it should have been tackled in a better way, number one. Number two, while doing that, the Prime Minister should have taken state chief ministers into confidence, find out the preparedness, how much they can take it. Look at the focus. Like in Maharashtra, 35% districts are only showing signs of the virus. But entire state has been clamped down. It is completely locked down. So the rest of the state, there could have been other options. They could have explored that, but that wasn't given. And the funny thing about the Indian psyche is that Prime Minister gave 3 days to prepare people to clap and celebrate those who are in the health line, helping people address health issues. Another 2 days to light lamps, basically to, again, the same reason. But to clamp down, to announce complete lockdown, he gave just only 3 hours. So you can imagine what chaos it must have created in India. And that exactly has happened. So we have lost on that front, and we were already behind on the health issue. So that question is taken care of. And the second point you talked about?
America and New York City about...
this is again interesting. India loves or thrives on chaos. So if you look at those developed nations, they have a certain style of functioning. There is too much of orderliness in their life, So any minimum deviation from that, things go out of gear. So my hunch is that, suddenly so many things happening simultaneously. Indians are born multitask masters, So in that area, this could be one of the reasons. And the second reason, which is more important, first thing is one can look at it in a lighter way. The second is more important is that the bravado and then overconfidence by of the President of the United States. He never believed. You can see the change in the statements made by him since second or third week of February till date, that the virus will completely disappear. From that point to locking down New York. So this kind of miscalculation must have hit really hard to cities like New York, as compared to, take for example, Germany. In first week of January, German health system sensed that this virus is going to hit us. And since then, they had a very, very theoretical, and systematic approach to handling this issue. With regard to US, you can imagine, you can compare. Germany size-wise, it's much smaller. It can be compared with Maharashtra. But if you look at the way US handled and the way Germany handled it, it's huge. Without a single day lockdown, Germany managed it. Without single day lockdown, South Korea managed it. And what is happening in US? You are at the helm of the thing, So this is the difference, I think. The scientific, methodical approach to tackling any challenge, and I can handle anything. That approach. This is the difference between two approaches, which is costing US more.
Yes, working under pressure is definitely a
Yeah,
quality. It is proving to be helpful for the Asian nations or
yeah.
India especially. Moving on, let's talk about the economy and the financial aspects. We see lots of drops in the S&P 500 index, the financial index of London Stock Exchange, Indian Stock Exchange. The Sensex fell by a huge drop. So, what could be the is this really the impact only of this virus and investor expectations and things like
See, as far as India is concerned, in any case, India was not in recession, but it was in recessionary mode before the virus hit. The growth has been declining since 2016, the way the Prime Minister announced demonetization. From then onwards, it's never picked up the way it should have been. And we were growing at 9%. There was no reason for demonetization to be announced. But since then, it couldn't pick up. After a year or so came the GST, the botched up GST. It's not the GST what was recommended by expert committee like Dr. Vijay Kelkar. So these 2-3 things had already had economy reeling under the pressure of various administrative as well as economic issues. And then came the virus. So this is like you are down with typhoid and you are thinking of getting out of the bed and you are hit by jaundice. So it's as good as that, So it is having this kind of a triple, what do you call, double whammy, the triple whammy or more than that, which is actually killing the Indian economy. And now picture is really bad. Jobs will be lost. Service sector will be completely in peril. And there is no way the small and medium sector can stand up and do the business what they were into. Unlike Germany, we don't have any big package for SME sector, and we can't spend money like what US do. So this is the crisis, and then and I mean, going down the line, this is the season where farmers prepare for the season. The monsoon in preparation for the season, sowing season ahead. But now we are in a lockdown position. They can't work on that. So that also gets completely, there is a fear of getting it wiped out. So you have multiple reasons, to fear about the economic situation, and every reason is equally strong and equally bad, unfortunately.
and then this would also have a significant impact on the automobile industry and all the OEM, other equipment manufacturers that go along with it. So it will be like a domino
For
effect.
example, you talked about automobile. Maruti reported 50% decline in their sale. 50%. Rajiv Bajaj, who is heading Bajaj Auto now, is the son of Rahul Bajaj. He said it will take years to bring India out of this recessionary move, And he is one of the strongest and the first critic of clamp down. He said not the virus, but the clamp down or the lockdown and the government measures will kill the economy. And what you said is right. And auto sector is completely down. India works in SMEs. There are big names, but under those big names, they are supplied or they are provided or there's a chain of small scale entrepreneurs all over India. Those are completely wiped. There is no cash in the market. There is no money supply, and government measures are only for poor and those who are below poverty line. That is definitely essential. But the lower middle class, which lives on daily wages, and especially in this small and medium segment, the third category, which is actually it's completely flat, is real estate sector.
Right.
As of now, real estate sector is the biggest employer in the country, and it stopped. It's completely halted. GST demonetization, along with a special Indian act, it's called RERA, basically administrating the real estate sector, that has killed. And over and above that, when it was looking for revival, virus hit. So it can't be more worse timing for the virus to be hitting the Indian economy. And that's a serious issue now. Yeah.
And when we see the bottom of the pyramid, the people who do odd jobs, especially in cities like Mumbai or all over India. Once that segment is disturbed, the entire purchasing power of these people will go on reflecting.
And there is no way like US. Every Friday, US government will come out with numbers, the job losses and job kind of like yesterday, 6.6 million people were out of job. So that system we don't have. And another issue of not having this system is it's 82% is unorganized segment. So it's not measured. So there is a lot of guesswork and then other points one has to take to understand the reality. So that also adds to the problem. So you don't know which is the point one should be focusing on, So every year or every month, we have to have numbers coming out from the government sources, authentic numbers that we'll talk about. But unfortunately, that's not the case. And now it is complicating the matter now.